welcome back. I'm Josh with Industrial Compressor Solutions, and I'm sitting here with Aaron. We are showing how to change a separator on a basket style separator on a rotary screw air compressor. We've already removed all the connecting pipe. We've locked it out, tagged it out. We've made sure there's no compressed air or electrical going to the compressor whatsoever. And now we're going to remove the top of the sump and remove the separator filter. So once again, we're going to use the proper size wrenches, and we are going to break loose the bolts on the top of the separator housing. He's going to open his hand, or he's just going to punch the wall of the compressor. Whichever one he'd rather do, I guess, yeah. Most customers like to know that you're beating their equipment into shape while you're taking off the separator, so the random loud noises, that's a good thing. You know, some technicians will use pneumatic wrenches to get these bolts off. I guess I don't disagree with that. I've never done it. I've always done it manually. Mostly the issues that you would see using pneumatic tools is when you're putting them back on, over torquing them and chewing into the lid of the separator. I've just stayed away from it. It's an option, but we should make sure we're careful. I'd be lying if I didn't say that I hadn't set these bolts near the work site in the past, but try not to do that anymore, because I have the tendency to hit them while I'm working, and losing a bolt is not the best thing you can do. Now, if there's any concern whatsoever of how the separator lid is going to go back on, then you can use a permanent marker or a center punch or something to mark the lid of the separator and let you know the orientation for when you put it back on. Another thing is a lot of these separators, the separator lids, especially when they get bigger, they're extremely heavy. So we really want to make sure that this is a controlled lift. If it is light and it's something that's easy to do, that's great, that's wonderful. Don't be afraid to have somebody else there or to use rigging to get this up and over. Larger compressors a lot of times will have a hinge on the side of the separator lid, and it can be moved off without exerting a lot of force. But make sure that when you're pulling this off, that you're careful and you're doing it in a well-controlled environment. So we're going to pull the separator off. If you need any assistance, please let me know. Sometimes the separator comes off with it. That's okay. Okay. Yep. Now, one of the benefits of pulling off all of the tubing and fittings is that we didn't have to be we didn't have to take into account for any hoses, electrical connections, anything when this came off. So the separator came out with it. That's okay. We're able to pull it off, and we're good to go. Usually it'll sit in the sump, but once in a while it does this. It's very important to know once we've pulled the separator, we have an open hole to the oil system. We need to be careful. It's important that we don't have anything sitting up and around, even this. We want to keep our work area clean, but we want to be extremely careful around this open sump. A lot of times the gasket might break off if the person that did this before you didn't do it correctly. So you can have gasket pieces here. We need to be careful, extremely careful. Now, when we pull the separator, there's a couple things that we want to look for the sake of putting it back together. We want to know, hey, have we lost any pieces of the gasket? Is there oil in the basket, what have you? But as far as the operation of compressor, there are also some things we can look for. Sometimes we could see a puddle of oil in the top of the basket. If we see that oil in the top of the basket, that's going to tell us maybe the scavenge line wasn't scavenging correctly, or the amount of oil being carried over through the basket was overcoming what the scavenge line could do. There's a good chance in that scenario that the customer was having to add oil throughout the time period between services. We also want to look for signs of overheating. We want to know that the filter isn't missing sections or have something in it. But a lot of just common sense checks. Okay. In the next section, we're going to talk about prepping the work area before putting it back together. But as always, thank you very much for watching our video.